Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the SGDQ 2020 Games Committee. My name is Zojalix, and I'm going to be recording a submission video for the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers Gimli Easy. This will finish up every single character that I will be submitting for the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers bidwar. For this game, just one thing I want to clarify for this run and for every single other submission video for Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers I'm recording, I'm currently dealing with some hardware issues on my Nintendo Wii, but so these runs were recorded using the Dolphin emulator, but for the actual event, I will have my physical hardware there. The physical hardware versus the emulator does not affect the run in any way, shape, or form. In fact, actually, I had some issues with the emulator kind of lagging in a couple of spots in some of the other runs that actually made it slower than what it could potentially be. So first things that we do before we actually start the run here is we actually are going to load into our already completed secret codes file, and then we're going to quit out and save. What that is going to do is that's actually going to allow us to skip the cutscenes in the game that are plugged in from the movie. And then because we were playing as Gimli, who is a character that you unlock after the level Weathertop, we're loading into our Gates of Moria save file, and that is going to set us up to select Gimli and start the run. That is kind of how that all ties together. You skip those movie cutscenes, and then you load this file because otherwise you would have to play through the prologue in Weathertop, which you play as Aragorn and not Gimli. Or you play as Aragorn and not Gimli, and since this is Gimli, those levels are not included in this run. And so we select it, and then the run starts when you confirm the character selection. So there you go. So Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers is a hack and slash action adventure game that was developed in 2003, I believe, maybe even earlier than that. I'd have to double check on that.
This land
Um,
has changed.
And for the primary
We
parts of
shall
the
wait
run,
here until the
like the
path
majority
beyond
of the
appears
run has been
safe.
optimized by
Are you in
myself and
trouble?
Seven Swagmuffin
Send in a
7.
dwarf.
And so to start off in this run, in this first level, Gates of Moria, we're going to get ourselves to level 2 by grabbing that little EXP pickup that is in the ice, and then we're going to kill 5
Many
goblins.
of them.
One thing you are going to know is that with these goblin kills, I'm going to be using my fierce attack. So the game has two types of attacks, and that's speed and fierce. And since we're playing on GameCube, my speed attack I use through my A button, and my fierce attack I use through my Y button. And the speed attack is a faster attack, but it
Quickly,
deals less
which way?
damage. The fierce attack is stronger, it's a little bit slower, and it also breaks shields. And it comes in to be a super handy part of the run. So now for the rest of this segment, actually what is going to be happening is it's going to be a lot of precise routing to running to the end of the level
I
with
could
trying to
pass
get
through the
hit as
mines of
little as
Moria.
possible.
My cousin Balin
And
was a
normally
royal
you would
blood
think,
hunter.
oh, that's just easy. That requires, avoiding enemies and just, being basically good at the game. But the enemies routing is actually very annoying sometimes because typically it's the same, but for this run specifically, this like it just they don't like to cooperate sometimes, and so it takes a lot of adapting to the RNG of the enemy's movements to be able to move properly. So we're just gonna make our way to the end of the level here and going into the boss fight. We're kind of hugging around the left side of the lake just so that way we don't move slow, because once you get to a certain depth in the water, uh, the game will actually make you move slower. And so we hug the side of the lake. And so now we're into the first boss fight of the game, and then it's a Watcher in the Water. There isn't necessarily any special speed strats for this boss fight other than just playing it casually really well. And it sounds a little bit ridiculous that I would say something like that. But what's going to happen is this boss is kind of RNG dependent. It's going to spawn these tentacles, and then we're going to throw our axes at the boss. And the reason why that this is an RNG dependent is these tentacles will come up, but sometimes they don't like to come up in a good way. And so it can sometimes take a little bit extra time to have to sit and wait for them to show up. And also Gimli takes a long time to throw his hatchets, and that can be kind of annoying.
Well struck, Gimli.
So in the game, there are three main characters. There's Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Aragorn and Legolas are the two
This is the
fastest
dawn of
characters,
Durin,
and then Gimli
Lord of
is the
Moria.
slowest because He's just a naturally slower character, but he's super tanky. So now we're in our first menuing section of the game. We're going to be buying Balin Swift Terror and then Dwarven Fury. Those are going to be super important abilities throughout this run. But anyways, so Gimli is super slow. He's super tanky, but he's actually super versatile. And he's got a lot of room for optimization, I feel. But he's also kind of limited at the same time because he doesn't have that good of a range attack. And a lot of the strats can be based around those range attacks. So now we're kind of, it's not an auto scroller. The game will progress here by how much kills we get. And so it's currently just this time where we're going to be killing a lot of enemies. But it's actually a super important time because we can get into what's called perfect mode. So what you'll be seeing down in the bottom left corner of the screen, there's a little damage meter there. And currently right now it is full, and that is called perfect mode. Right now it is not full. And you'll see that every time we hit, there's this little bit of color that goes progressively throughout that point. And we actually have this routed in a way that we try and get ourselves into perfect mode, because when we're in perfect mode, which is where that damage meter is all the way filled up, is when we will get the most amount of EXP per kill, as well as we will do the most amount of damage. And so we put ourselves into perfect mode to let us earn a lot of EXP. And you try and utilize this a lot throughout the run. And so now it's just going to be killing enemies for a while, trying to get into perfect mode, using our Balin Swift Terror. And so now is a good time to throw it over to a couple of donations. So coming up in a little bit, we have the troll fight. And the troll fight is our next major boss fight. And the way that we go about the troll fight is we're going to be using our Dwarven Fury ability, which is we get by holding our fierce attack, which is holding Y. We're going to use it twice, and as you can see, when we're in the animation for the attack, it gives us invulnerability frames. And then we use one fierce attack, and that immediately ends that first phase. And now that we get into the second phase, we're going to be sitting here and throwing hatchets. Now, normally, optimally, it would be better if we can get into perfect mode. But because Gimli is such a clunky character, it's not worth it to try and force a perfect mode to happen before you get the kill. But as you can see, we earned enough EXP to put us at level 3. We don't unlock any new abilities with level 3. And so we just kind of we're just going to be skipping that upgrade sequence and then moving on to Amon Hen, which is the next level, and honestly probably one of the hardest levels, if not the hardest level for every single character, just because it is a super optimized level. And it's got a lot that goes on throughout the level. So what's going to be happening is we're going to have to kill 75 Urukai. But there's this one like overhead swing that these Urukai are going to do. And you'll see them do it a lot because it's pretty common for them to do it. And every time it hits you, it knocks you down. So as you can see, I get knocked down quite a bit there. But it's makes to be a really annoying attack because it knocks him down, it knocks you down, but then also every time that they do it, they get iframes. We don't really know why they do, but they do.
We must defeat these Urukai for Frodo to escape.
And so now here we're going to be trying to, once again, get into perfect mode so we can maximize our damage output. But again, it's really hard to do as Gimli. So there are a lot of times too where you will just notice that I just don't even try for it. And we'll just go for what I can as far as damage is concerned. You know, this level, the reason why this level has become so difficult is this level has become extremely optimized in terms of what kills we get where, and it primarily happens with Aragorn and Legolas and Isildur, and those are, like, there's a lot of ways that, like, that Gimli just changes the run, because you have to change your strats a lot, just because Gimli is such a vastly different character. But for the most part, optimizing what fights you take as Gimli and what fights you don't take should theoretically stay the same. They're just going to be slower because of the way that Gimli's character works. So now we're just going to make our way to the end of the level, killing Uruk-hai, getting our counter to the end. So once again, we can turn it over to more donations.
I shall enjoy this.
So now we're into the Lord's fight. The Lord's fight has two phases, archery and swords. And we're going to get through the archery phase just by chucking some hatchets at him. We chuck 4 of them. Pretty self-explanatory. The statue phase is where things get really funky, especially as Gimli, because we can't do our normal strats that we would do. But now that we've gotten him stuck, we're going to try. I tried to do a strat that we use in Aragorn, but it's a stupidly hard strat that just wasn't going to work for Gimli, and I shouldn't have gone for it, and so I ended up losing more time than what ended up being worth. And so now I just did what I could to try and kill Lurtz as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, this fight is just kind of unoptimized as Gimli. It's just because Gimli is just such an awkward character, we just don't really know what we can do with him. And like what we've come up with so far, I think is still pretty good, but there's still a lot more that we can do with him. So we hit level 4, which is going to allow us to buy more abilities. We're going to buy our first health upgrade, actually I think, and then we're going to buy Rising Attack. Rising Attack allows us for when we get knocked down that we can get back up, because that's important, because we're going to get knocked down a lot. because that's just kind of like a normal part of this run. Is enemies are gonna hit
Going
you,
this
they're
way.
gonna knock you down, and it's gonna
Like
make
a
you
trail
kind of
heads here.
sad. But
We must split up
you
to
just
find our
kind of have
footing.
to shrug it off and go with it, unfortunately. So now we're in a Fangorn Forest. Fangorn Forest is a level where we're going to be fighting quite a lot of trolls. And we're going to be utilizing that Dwarven Fury ability that we have used quite a bit, because that is going to be the fastest way that we are going to be able to kill the trolls. But first we have to make it through this fight. And unfortunately, goblins are just jerks. And they just kind of like to sit in this like awkward, like backwards part of the fight until it's convenient for them. So now we have a Berserker. Berserkers are annoying enemies, but we can deal with them really quickly by using Dwarven Fury. Also, fun fact, in this cutscene, you're going to see Gimli's going to fall back behind the tree, and then he's just going to teleport to the other side. Don't really know why that happens, but it does. So we're going to be utilizing Dwarven Fury here. The timing on this is a lot more precise than it looks, because of the fact that we can get hit out of it while we're charging, but once the ability goes off, then we have invulnerability frames. And so now we're just going to keep running through here. At this river, we're going to be hugging the left side of the river. That's going to prevent us from going really slow. But once you notice that when Gimli sticks his axe over his head and starts walking, that we turn around and we start doing jump backs. That will actually help us to go through the river faster than if we were to just walk through, like trudge through the water. And so now we got this troll, we're gonna kill him, and then we're gonna grab this little bit of EXP, and I take his safety health there. This game is really marathon safe in terms of like health that you can take as far as safety goes. Um, there are a lot of instances where you've seen me get close to death but not die. The only time where it really becomes Monka S in this run, as far as dying, was that one Lurtz fight. And as far as Lurtz fights go, that was one of the worst that you could possibly get. And so now we're in the Goblin Horde. Goblin Horde's pretty self-explanatory. We just kill the goblins. We don't actually need to kill any of the other enemies. We only need to kill the goblins. So we're going to be focusing on them rather than fighting all the other orcs until they get in our way. And this fight too can get kind of chaotic, and it's pretty easy to lose goblins in the chaos of everything. So like here I've killed them all, but I don't actually realize that I've killed them all. So I like run back to try and look for him, even though he's not actually there. And so now, to finish off this level, we have 2 trolls that we have to fight. How fun! Yeah, we pretty much just go about it in the same way. We utilize our Dwarven Fury. We're going to go up, we're going to smack them, show them that we are the big dwarf boss, and finish them off. So again, I'm going to be submitting Lord of the Rings to Two Towers as a character bid war. For every single character, I do have world record for every single character that is being submitted.
Oracle.
And I recorded this off of the
There's something
current
out
world
there.
record video,
What do
which
you
was
see,
set
Nicholas?
March 4th,
The White
2020.
Wizard.
Saruman.
So we've made it through Fangorn Forest. We do get a level up, which we use, I think, to only buy another health upgrade, and then that's the end of it. And now we're going into Plains of Rohan. Plains of Rohan is a super tough level, and I'll kind of get into the explanations of why it's super tough when we get to it. But it's not for this first fight, even though this first fight can be a little bit annoying. But now we're introduced to enemies to what I call War Urukai. So we fought the regular Urukai in Amonhen, and now we have Battle Urukai. They do more damage, they have more health, but that's really the only difference that they have in comparison to other Urukai.
You must save everyone
But
that
we
you
just
can.
kill these guys. Gandalf is going to do his little "You shall not pass." And so the reason why this level can be really difficult is you'll see there's this meter in the top right corner of the screen. And that meter displays how many villagers are going to be left in the, left alive in the village. And if that meter drains all the way, you will fail and have to restart the level. And so the reason why this level becomes super difficult because of that meter is because there are certain fights that we take and certain fights that we don't take. And because of that, we risk villagers being killed even just by running past them. And so you'll see an instance of this here. We're going to break this furniture, allowing for the villagers to leave, but the meter is still going to drain because people are just still dying. And also, we got really lucky there. The crossbow guy shot the berserker into the fire, which allowed him to burn, which means we didn't have to worry about killing him, which normally I would kill him because A, it helps to keep the RNG normal, and B, that guy's just annoying to keep alive, and he will follow us throughout the entire rest of the level. So here, like, this is where the emulator actually becomes super slow. I had some weird, like, power outage thing happen during the time that I was recording this run, and my computer just kind of went like, nope. And so it kind of does this for a little bit. Apologies for that. I don't, like I said, I've been having some issues with my Wii, but those issues will not be present because I will be playing, well, I was recording on emulator just for the sole purpose to get these done. But for the actual event, I will be playing on my console. I was just having some issues with my hardware and didn't have time to get them fixed before submissions were opened and ready. So now we're in the last fight of the level. This fight can be good and bad all at the same time. I think it's a really fun fight to do, but unfortunately it can be really tough because of the fact that so you have this lovely couple that unfortunately gets thrown into this burning building, and like what happens is you'll see that there is another meter underneath our villager meter, and that is the meter for this couple. And if we do not get them out of there before that meter drops, it doesn't matter what the rest of our villager meter is. We'll still fail the level. But if we were to just bust them out of there, then they just turn into other villagers that can still die at normal times. So some runners will opt to like just rush and open that up.
The survivors will
But
make
then
the
there's
home
me
steep.
who decides to do the fight
Still have
first. I
work
don't know
to
why
do.
I do that, but that's just
I
what
will
I
come
do.
back to you later
Actually, no,
tonight.
I do know why I do that. It just becomes easier to route out how I'm going to kill enemies first versus trying to like figure out a way to get through the enemies to open up the door and then go. Again, it's just me kind of being a little weird. So we finished up Plains of Rohan, and now we're going into Westfold. Again, we didn't buy any abilities there. We didn't need to. Westfold is a super fun level because there are these explosive devices that we're going to be utilizing a lot throughout the run. Because when we kill enemies using the gunpowder, we don't gain any EXP from them. And also, dramatic hatchet throw.
Our only hope is to stand together. Saruman's forces move strange explosive devices through this town. Help us destroy them. Those explosive devices must
But you'll
be
see,
destroyed.
we're going to be blowing up these explosive devices to kill enemies to help clear our way.
Yes! Give them a taste of fire.
And then we're just going to be kind of running to where we need to go. This level can be kind of Monka-esque because you do take, if you take a hit from the fire directly on, it can do quite a bit of damage. And if you take quite a bit of damage, you can die pretty easily.
Hold them at the gate.
But now it's pretty much just utilizing these explosive devices, trying really hard not to die, and then running to the end of the level. Here we've got like this annoying little camera angle thing that happens, but that's why I spin around there for a second, because the camera switches and I actually have to adjust the motion for my control stick. Also, shoutouts to this random adaptive play that I did where I was able to cause this insane chain of explosions and grab the full health without taking any damage myself. I thought that was amazing. And so now we're at the next lake. This lake is, again, pretty easy. We just run along the right side of the lake and then do our jump back things to go faster. Sometimes with certain characters I'll actually kill those archers, but I don't actually end up doing that this time. I, for some reason, made the impulsive decision that that wasn't going to be a good idea. I don't know why I decided that was going to be the case, but yet here we are. And we're just going to run to the end, smack gunpowder with a battle axe, because, you know, that's how you make it all blow up. And we don't take any damage from it. In fact, the game's like, hey, you did it. We're going to end the level for you.
Those few of us able to fight, march for Helm's Deep. There the future of Rohan shall live or die.
And then again, we didn't level up, so we don't need to buy anything. But then we're going to head into Gap of Rohan. Gap of Rohan is a really fun level. It's super short. It takes place in 2 fights, which is these quick fights with wargs, and then a fight against Bossman Sharku. And the fight between the wargs, we're just going to charge up our Dwarven Fury, which the wargs decided to go after Aragorn and not touch us, which is a little bit annoying because that's slower. But it happens, so it's fine. So now we're into the Bossman. Now we're fighting Bossman Sharku. Bossman Sharku is can be kind of an annoying fight. It's really easy, but the RNG for the enemies can be a little bit annoying. So what's gonna happen is we gotta kill these 4 wargs. Once we kill them, then we can actually fight Bossman Sharku, and these wargs are where the RNG becomes annoying, because Bossman Sharku is gonna charge us 3 times, and then we're gonna kill him by whacking him a bunch with the battle axe. Now, I tried to go where I stand in a specific spot to help manipulate the cycle, or not the cycle, but to manipulate the Dwarven Fury. I don't know if I was standing too far back or not. I think I just was standing too far against his butt, and that's why I didn't hit him with the backswing like other characters do. But that was just where it ended up falling. So we hit level 6. We're gonna buy Moria axes, and then our next Dwarven Fury upgrade. That's gonna give us a an upgrade to our hatchets that we throw, and then our upgrade, and then our an upgrade to our Dwarven Fury ability.
There are enough for us both, Gimli.
Again, they're don't really do much except make our Dwarven Fury a little bit stronger and make our throwing hatchets stronger. So that's really the benefit that they give there. Now we're into Helm's Deep, the Deeping Wall. Unfortunately, Helm's Deep, the Deeping Wall is this 8.5-minute auto scroller of just running around kicking down ladders. And the reason why that we don't kill any enemies is you would think, oh, this is a really good spot to gain some EXP, considering you're really not that high of a level. Which, yeah, that's understandable, but we really don't need to be that high of a level to do really well in the run. And so we're going to be running around kicking down ladders, hoping to not get EXP. And especially, the reason for that is because at the end of every level, as you've seen, it tallies up all of our kills and gives us upgrade points based on the kills that we get. And every kill that we get, that takes time for that to tally. And so the less kills that we get, the less time it takes for that all to tally. And so if we avoid getting any kills, then all of our kills will tally in a very, very, very short amount of time, which is exactly what we want. And so now it's an 8-minute auto-scroller of running around and kicking down ladders with some added archers with shooting explosive arrows, and then eventually catapults will be joining the party as well. It's a little unfortunate that this part happens in the run, but in order to try and tie this up, for my couch, I will be doing, because random things about me that kind of allows for some personality stuff too, is Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers has always been a big childhood game of mine. I have put a lot of time into it. It's been my main run that I have been optimizing for about 2 years now. And I've only been speedrunning for just under 3 years. But like, Lord of the Rings has always been my big childhood sort of like, Lord of the Rings defined a lot of my childhood. I would always run around and play Lord of the Rings in the woods. I would do a lot of different stuff like that. And I watch the movies all the time. And so I know a lot of random movie facts about Lord of the Rings. And so if this run gets in as sort of a way to help pass the time in between donations and stuff, we'll be wanting to do Lord of the Rings trivia. Just so that way I can show people how little of a life that I have, and showcasing that, how much I know about Lord of the Rings. And even still, I might even throw in a little Gollum impression showcase there. The Gollum impression is something that I've spent way too much time working on, Precious, and I think it would be quite interesting to know how the world would react to seeing me do that. Sorry, kind of has a number on my throat sometimes. But yeah, that's just something more that I've thought about ways of making this speed up and be faster. So, or be a little bit more entertaining, and I'm sure I'll probably also coincide with my couch in a way that will make this a lot more entertaining, in a way that it'll make it more fun for the audience. So yeah, for now, enjoy this long auto-scroller. So we've come to the near end of the auto-scroller. I thank you guys so much for putting up with this ridiculously long segment of the run. And that's the unfortunate part about the run, is the last 3 levels show off total hack and slash
Fallen back.
glory
It is over for now.
in terms of
I got mine keen.
the things that it does,
See about that.
whereas just everything now from here on out becomes focused on killing enemies and killing them quickly. So again, we only got 1 kill, so we don't lose any time to that. We don't do any upgrading, and we go into the next level, Breached Wall. Breached Wall is a long, as you can see, 10-minute level of killing enemies. And it's a little bit unfortunate that that's the way that the level ends up going. But as you can see, we're just going to be running, blowing up these sappers. So one thing to note also too, because I don't explain it because it doesn't really become relevant until this level. But, and you can't really see it, unfortunately, in the bottom right corner because my Rogue Nation thing is in the way. I apologize for that. That was something I didn't plan and anticipate ahead of time. But what you see is, what you don't see is that I only have 25 hatchets. And so ammo conservation is extremely important. And a way that we combat that is by standing in front of everything and then using our Dwarven Fury, which gives us iframes to blow things up. So this level is the one that I have definitely labbed the most out of every other level in the game, just because of the I've been trying to figure out ways to analyze the RNG of the AI, analyzing how they function, analyzing what patterns they take, analyzing literally anything and everything in a way that we can speed it all up. And unfortunately, my efforts have been in vain. I try to find the solutions, and it just never comes with answers. So at this point, I just realized that it's kind of pointless for me to stand way up in the front because of just how many enemies still get through. At least with Gimli, it would be better if you were playing as the other characters. But once again, that is just the unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in. So we've made it through the first chunk of this level. Now that we've done the bulk of everything, the only thing we have to do is kill a troll and then destroy a catapult. And we have to kill that berserker, I guess, too, in order to progress. But that's, you know, not that important. So we killed our troll, and now we're going to destroy the catapult. This catapult segment is a lot harder than it probably even looks difficult. But just the positions that we have to be in order to like, we're going to be running around the left side here. Random fire pit that's going to spawn and then despawn. Don't really know what happened there. But we're going to be hitting the sides of the catapult here with Dwarven Fury to try and destroy them quickly. But we destroyed the catapult, and that ends the level.
Never have I seen such axe work, Master Dwarf.
Nor I such bow skill. But they never stand back up after I have hit them.
So this is where you see what I mean when I mention that the kill tally takes a long time to go with the more kills that we get. Like, that is the reason why we don't get kills during Deeping Wall. So now we're into Hornburg Courtyard, and Hornburg Courtyard is a super fun level because it's a chaotic mess. It's killing a lot of enemies over and over, and because we don't really have that optimal of abilities to do it, we just try and do it with our Dwarven Fury as much as possible. Which can be both good and annoying. And so we're going to be killing a lot of enemies here for a while until we wait for the next progression, so we can turn it over to more donations while this is happening. So now we've advanced, and Legolas needs help, even though he just blasted a bunch of guys in the face.
Go to Legolas! I will hold them here!
And so we run off. And we go and save Legolas because we are a nice dwarf. And we don't get blasted by the catapult because that's bad, bad juju. So now we're back to killing enemies until we hear a guy yell "archers on the wall." So this is where an audio cue becomes really important because you really don't want to miss it because you need to respond to the archers on the wall, and if you don't respond to the archers on the wall, you will lose. Hey, the archers are on the wall. So we're gonna run up and we are going to just start throwing axes at them. And we gotta kill about 8 or 9 of them. So we got our little Hurry Master Dwarf. We know that we finished the main objectives of the level, and we're just back to killing enemies until the trolls spawn. So the run will be ending here in about, time will be coming up here in about a minute. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to be able to submit this. This is a tiny, tiny game, but we have a super amazing community. We have 7 Swag Muffin 7, my anime rival and homeboy, love you dude. We got Black Pod and Red Stalker, 2 of the OG runners who haven't been running in a while. I'd love to see them make a return. And then as always, love to see more and more people try to pick up this game and just see what sort of stuff we can optimize with it. So time is coming up here. Time. So yeah, again, would really love to have the opportunity to be able to showcase this on a GDQ stage. Thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity to be able to present this to you guys, and I hope that we can utilize a character bid war as well as a bonus run donation incentive for Tower of Orthanc. So again, thank you guys so much, and yeah, I will see you guys this summer.